Energy update, real quick. Message from the Akashic Records. So let me just say this. First of all, food shortages. Yes, from now until the next 6 months, it will be an all time high on recalls and food shortages. There are many recommendations that I can give, but I'm only going to give a couple in this setting. One of those recommendations would be eat less if you can. Just very gradually reduce the amount of food that you're eating if you can. If you have a health condition, low blood sugar, whatever it may be, I get that. I have lived with chronic illness, but you want to pay attention to your intake, okay? This is a purging of gluttony, this is a purging of greed. And especially in certain countries and here in America, buffets, supersize, all of these things had a subliminal subconscious impact on us. And it kind of made us more greedy and difficult to satisfy, difficult to feel. Our appetites. Pay attention to your appetite. This is more so about your appetite than anything. The light body is being activated. The light body will not require as much food as it used to. If you are going through the awakening, this is a natural part of the awakening where you start to pay attention to the amount of food that you're eating. And I know for me, with the solar flares and everything that is happening, the way it is working out for me is that I'm eating smaller portions and I'm making sure that the quality of what I'm eating is better. Now, they are putting a squeeze on us and making it difficult for us to do. I'm not going to explain who they is, okay? So this is entertainment, right? Isn't it entertaining? Aren't you entertained by this? So this is what is happening. They're putting a squeeze on us, but use it as a catalyst. Do not allow it to send you into despair. For those of you who third eye is activated and can visualize, when you walk into stores, see the shelves full, not empty. When you hear negative news about food, visualize us having everything that we need and we will continue to be provided for. The timeline is calling for us to visualize the reality that we want to see. Believing is not something, it's a period of where your believing, your faith has to turn into matter. Okay, and so we're standing in the gaps of that. So don't have long conversations about food recalls and what's wrong with the food and who doing it and why. Be aware, but make sure that you are visualizing abundance and us not being in lack so that we can anchor a timeline where the squeeze that's being placed on us will be a catalyst for us and would not be to our disadvantage. The next thing that I would recommend, detox. If you don't know how, do some research, consult with a health coach, do whatever you got to do to figure it out, okay? But there are ways to figure it out. Detox, because it is the parasites inside of us. We all have them. We all have some level of parasite inside of us, and that is what controls our appetite. It also controls our mental health. It controls our behavior. It controls our immunity. So this is a time for you to pay attention to that. Now, parasites under a microscope actually look like the description of demons. So the stomach is actually we would call the stomach the underworld, the underbelly, okay? And in any ancient text that you read and it talks about hell, that's happening inside the gut right now. Okay, so it does no good to aim for creating heaven on earth if you're not creating heaven inside of your body. So it's really important right now that you are paying attention to your gut health, okay? And do not allow yourself to be distracted from that. It is so important. I'm not going to get into the ways to do that. I could, but I'm not going to do it because it's a lot of work and it's just not something I'm going to do for free anymore because I've done that a lot. But I'm just going to tell you how to get through this period of time that we're going through. And there are plenty of people out there who are offering these services. Okay, so I'm just here to give you all the energy update. The things that I feel like some people aren't communicating that's really important for us to know. All right, so Detoxing would be the next thing. Start gentle. Don't try to do too much at one time. You can't jump straight to parasites. You got to start with heavy metals, okay? If you've been exposed to mold, you can't start with parasites or mold. First, you got to start with heavy metal, then parasites, then mold. There is an order that you do these things in. And I know it's a lot of people giving advice and telling you how to do it, but I'm telling you from experience and from me doing these things and from doing it through trial and error and not always doing it in the right order. Yeah, there is a certain order that you want to do this in. So take heed to that. Find protocols that work for you. Because what worked for one may not work for another, but the order that you do things in is something that is universal. The next thing, for those of you who are not doing rituals and ceremonies and you know you are supposed to, start. If you don't know where to start, start simple with spiritual baths, spiritual showers, and keeping a check on your spiritual hygiene. Paying more attention to the energy that you allow yourself to tangle with. Okay, so ceremony and rituals is intentional. It's intentionally carving out time and space for specific activities for a specific outcome. So important. If you don't know how to do that, I have an entire course called 3D Matrix Detox on my website. The link is in the bio. If you're not serious, don't do it. It's plenty of content, information, and I'm teaching you from many different spiritual systems that you can use, and I make it practical. I make it simple. It's not overwhelming, because that's the last thing that we need. Okay? The next thing that I want to say, get out of survival mode by any means necessary. Get out of survival mode. If you are in survival mode, you are sending energy out, wavelengths out into the world that is creating more chaos. We don't need more chaos right now. We need people who know how to anchor themselves to draw in a new wavelength and broadcast that energy out. If you are an energy healer and you know you are an energy healer, but you have not been learning anything, this is the time now. Because by the time this winter get here, okay, I can't say that right now. But for those of you who stay tapped in with me, you'll know what you need to know when you need to know it. But with that being said, the next thing, journal your dreams. Okay? I'm speaking to the people who know that you're dreaming. Okay? If you can't remember your dreams, that's a blockage. That's spiritual warfare, and it would benefit you to take it really seriously and start doing whatever you got to do consistently and being devoted to reclaiming your ability to dream. Because if you can't do that, how is the subconscious going to heal? How are you going to receive the messages you need to receive that are being blocked out by being in survival mode? It's going to be difficult. Now, for me, I am a dream walker. So I have meetings in my dreams. I do healing sessions in my dreams on myself, other people, and I receive them from ancient deities, which are my guides. I am a devotee, a daikini of the goddess. A lot of Venus energy in my natal chart. So this is what I'm here to do. So I am doing a lot of ceremonies, a lot of healing, and I'm meeting up with some of y'all. If you see me, say hey on the astral, okay? But let me say this. There is other entities that want to be able to colonize the astral realm, our dreams. So this is why it's important for you to tap in right now. Because y'all already know when colonization started happening, a lot of interference started happening, and shit started changing in ways that can't be quickly rearranged and undone. Okay? So pay attention to that, okay? Because you're getting messages, you're getting what you need. You're doing what you need to be doing there, okay? But if you're not connected, it's going to be interference just all across the board. So keep a dream journal right beside your bed. And if you want to learn how to tap in, I got thousands of videos on my old YouTube channel. Tap in. My Patreon. Tap in. I teach you how to do that. I took my time and spent hours teaching you how to be a dream walker, how to lucid dream. That class is on Patreon. That link is in the bio as well. But I want you to know we got this. We can do this. We did not make it this far for nothing. And yes, they're turning up the heat, but we got this.